What up, it's Nick, and today I'm going to talk about the sampler in Bitwig Studio, but we're going to use it inside the Polygrid. So this is kind of like a sound design, I guess, discussion or topic. So yeah, I'm going to go over a couple things using the sampler in the Polygrid. This is probably not going to be the only video. I just want to talk about certain things. And yeah, so hopefully you find this interesting. And if you like the video, like it, subscribe, and hit the bell to keep up to date. So let's go. So we're inside the Polygrid right here. And you see I already have a patch already made up right here. And I have 3 samplers in here. And you're probably like, okay, cool. And what I did was, I found some samples I liked, put them in here, and then I pretty much mixed them in the mixer right here, and I used the ADSR and then out. Very important, if you are using the sampler inside the Polygrid, what you would want to do first is, you see the sampler when you have it with nothing attached or plugged in, you will get this little exclamation mark with the red sign right there. So in order to trigger your sample with the sampler, that sounds so weird, you need like a gate or pretty much anything that's yellow in the grid. So if we go to like, see how the gate in is yellow, this will attach to it, and that exclamation mark will go away, and you will be able to trigger the sampler. It's I bet people are confused about that. I was very confused. I was like, what? Why do I have to have that? And I'm not an expert, and I still don't know why. I just do it. I put whatever I want, but you don't have to put just the gate. You could put anything that has a yellow out. Logic has a lot of the yellow outs. You can put anything. You can put the quantized divide instead of the gate out. Yeah, anything with a yellow like notch into the yellow, it'll pretty much work. So anyways, after explaining that, that's very important, I think, we'll get into the patch. So the patch starts out with 3 samplers in the grid. I have a gate going to every one of them, so I pretty much connected all 3 of them to this one gate out, and I added a pitch for the key tracking on this one and this one. I did not use the pitch for key tracking on the first one. The key tracking is this orange and it tracks your keys, so I just messed with the note a little. It's on F. That's the key I'm in on all of these samples, and you can see the root right here is F3. And this one's F3 also, but I turned it down to F2. But I will play this for you right now. It sounds really weird and mysterious and wild. It sounds so cool. That's the thing about sound design and using the grid. You really don't know what you're going to get. I feel like every time I come in here, I just attach things, I mess around, I have no expectations, that's how I come into designing sounds and stuff like that, and I end up making really cool stuff. So you can see all these samplers are going into a mixer. Very important. I use this mixer to pretty much mix all 3 of these sounds together. Why would you use the sampler inside the grid? Okay, number 1, it can be a granular synth, pretty much. If you change it to cycles or textures, you can see all of these synths right here are changed to cycles. If I just changed them all to repitch, we'll probably get like a pretty crappy sound. Yeah, it's terrible. So if we put all these to cycles, we get that nice weird sound. It sounds like something it could be in a horror movie, honestly. And I've messed with the format and the pitch, stuff like that. It's just what you are going for. I wanted to make something. I did not want to make this. That's the thing. I wanted to make something alien, metal sounding, and I ended up with some horror impact, and it just sounds really cool. And these are all pretty much random samples I brought in here. when I brought in this first sample right here, this crackle pebble, I'll let you listen to it. I was like, yeah, I kind of want like fuzz, like you're on a radio and you can't really hear much, and that's why I brought that in. And then I wanted like an impact, so I was like, let's get this glass breaking. I'll let you listen to that. It's more of a pluck. Yeah, more of a pluck, not really breaking glass. And this one was just thunder, and I thought this sounded cool too. And all together, you just get this weird horror sound. And it's going all to the mixer into the ADSR, so it's fading down. So yeah, it sounds really, really good. That's one example of using the sampler inside the grid. This is just an impact, and I added a sub to it also. So the sub was just giving some low end. I turned it down 6 decibels. It's just awesome. Anyways, let's go to the next example. That example is pretty cool. And also I use some effects grids, and I'm going to tell you why I use effects grids instead of using the effects inside the Polygrid window right here. What I like to do is I like to get a pretty good foundation of a synth I am making or a sound that I'm making, and then I like to put the effects outside of that synth. I pretty much put effects grid on it, and then I just put the effects I want, so it's not so jumbled, so you don't have a bunch of stuff in one instance of your Polygrid. So because I feel like it can get so overwhelming, it's like I have no idea what I'm doing. So I like to separate my actual synth from my actual effects. That's my personal thing I do. So I'll play it with these effects. And that's where the alien thing comes in. I use these effects to get that alien. But I really like the original without the effects. It just sounds cool, but with the effects, it gives it a whole different tone and feeling. And it's only a comb filter and distortion. I turned off this mod delay. I can activate it so you can hear it. It's not much of a difference, but it gives it a little texture in the sound. But yeah, it's pretty cool. So next example. So this one, I did the same thing. I put in random stuff, a drone, a impact, a distortion drone. I'll let you listen to these. And I had the same idea. I wanted to make like this weird alien fuzzy scary sound, and I feel like I achieved it. And it's really, 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 really low. You can tell, like, you can probably barely hear it. But the effects bring out the sound so much. And here it is. Just a really, really good impact sound. And it sounds so good. So, but there are so many things you can do with the sampler inside the grid. You can do so much. Because you have so many more options. You have the textures, the key tracking. You can loop stuff. You can add effects to this. There's so much. And if you're stuck, remember, you can always click on the sampler itself and go over here to show help, and it'll tell you everything it's doing. You can also, when you switch up the I guess the options, repitch cycles, textures, it'll switch up the layout a little bit, but you will still be able to read to see what stuff is doing, and then that's amazing. I really like that you can put the sampler inside this grid. So the tutorial you thought you were going to get, but I feel like it's important to know a couple things about the sampler before you use the sampler inside the grid. So yeah, hopefully you guys, or whoever is watching this, create something wild, because there's so much stuff you can do with just the sampler inside the grid. Thanks for watching the video. If you liked the video, give me a like, subscribe if you want to, and hit the bell to stay notified for these videos. New music coming soon. Really awesome. Try this little patch out, I guess. Just try making something cool with the sampler. You don't have to use 3. I just use 3 because every time I make a sound or design a sound, I usually have 3 different textures. That's just a me thing. But you can do anything you want. Your life, your music, your style. Do what you need to do. So yeah, new music, new everything. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace. Bye.